The last breath of the 9 dragons. The unknown secrets of this lost civilization built on water. Mekong Delta. The moment you step into southern Vietnam, time slows down. Because here, life flows to the rhythm of the water. This is the final stop of a giant artery that begins in Tibet and nourishes 6 nations, the Mekong Delta. Locals call it the 9 dragons. But this is not just a legend. This is a world where floating markets are run by whispers, where homes are built on stilts, and where children learn to swim, not walk. In this video, we will descend into the heart of the rice granary, taste caramelized fish, and see the blessing and sadly, the endangered last traces left by those legendary dragons. Are you ready? Because this is not just a river trip, it's a journey into the memory of a civilization that lives with the water. Mekong Delta, the depth of life on water. When you arrive in southern Vietnam, the country's heartbeat slows. And that heart beats only with the water. Here, there is no noise of hasty modernity. Even the sound of the wind is different here, as if the deep echo of water resides in every breath. This is the mysterious Mekong Delta. Locals call it Cu Long, the 9-dragon river. Legend says, 9 sacred dragons once descended from the sky, each forming a tributary that would nourish the land with bounty. And the traces of those dragons still live today in the curves of the water, like a living map. However, this is not merely a legend. This geography is built upon centuries of cultural and historical layers. The Mekong rises from the Tibetan plateau, passes through China, Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, and Cambodia. After an epic journey of approximately 4,350 kilometers, it branches into 9 main arms in Vietnam. Meaning this river is like an artery connecting 6 countries. It continuously renews the delta with millions of tons of fertile sediment carried from the upper basins. This mud nourishes the soil and constantly pushes the delta geography toward the sea. Millions of people live off the bounty provided by this water. From agriculture to fishing, from trade to religion, everything is shaped by the rhythm of this life-giving flow. The region is home to both the Vietnamese people and the Khmer minority of Cambodian origin. The Mekong Delta produces 17 million tons of rice annually. It is not just rice, but also a center for tropical fruits and aquatic products. This is the main reason Vietnam is known as Asia's rice granary. Furthermore, the delta is one of the world's largest freshwater fisheries. But the issue here is not just production. Water is the single, unchangeable measure of time and identity in these lands. A day begins just like it did 100 years ago. Morning mist filters through the palm leaves. Small boats glide silently over the water. A child carries a fishing basket. A woman lights her incense. And the Mekong is born anew. Floating markets, the pulse of the river and the ritual of trade. In the Mekong Delta, markets are not on land, but on the water, with an ancient tradition. Kai Rang, the largest in the region. Phong Dien, Na Nam, these places are a ritual unchanged for centuries. A vibrant ecosystem that starts at sunrise and usually disperses around noon. Before the sun rises, hundreds of boats gather in the middle of the river. Each one is a small, moving business. These boats are traditionally flat-bottomed sampans, which can easily maneuver in shallow waters. On one, pineapples are piled like a mountain. On another, clusters of coconuts. On a third, mangoes, guavas, rambutans. Colors blend on the water. It is truly a floating rainbow. Vendors hang their goods on tall bamboo poles. A single watermelon dangling from above tells you that boat sells watermelon. This is a practical and silent form of communication that leaves no room for noise. Bargaining is often done in whispers or with hand gestures, preserving the river's serenity. There is hardly any sound between the boats, yet a silent economy breathes rhythmically on the water. This order is governed by the river's current and the cycle of the tides. These markets in the Mekong are not just centers of trade, but of social life too. Here, people exchange not only goods, but also news, laughter, prayers, and hope. A woman shares her morning coffee with a neighboring boat. Traditional Vietnamese coffee, sa phê sua đỏ, is served here with ice. A child reviews his lesson on the water. These simple moments are the building blocks of the Mekong's deeply rooted memory. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like and subscribe to join me on this journey. Let's enrich the conversation with your comments. Your feedback is truly valuable to me. Canals, houses, and fishing. An architecture built on water. As you advance deeper into the delta's interior, you see more clearly how the water embraces the land, how it hugs it. Thousands of small canals are like veins connecting the villages. Some are only a few meters wide, some are no deeper than a person's height. These waterways are far more important than roads. Even the government calls this place the capital of floating life. Houses are built on high stilts to adapt to the rising and falling of the water. Because during the high water season, the line between land and water disappears. The stilts keep the house elevated during monsoon rains and annual floods. Children born in these homes learn to swim before they learn to walk. Because the river is their first teacher, at night, the lanterns reflecting on the water make it hard to distinguish the sky from the river. A woman mends her net on the veranda of her house. A man makes a bamboo paddle. Life is simple but whole with one another. Fishermen set out before dawn. Some use hand nets, some use large drag nets. Others follow ancient traditions, setting bamboo baskets in the water. These traditional fishing methods are a sign of respect for the river. The fish they catch sometimes go to the market, sometimes to the dinner table, sometimes to a neighbor. Water is also a kitchen here. Small grills are lit on the boats. The river's most famous product, bassa fish, Pangasius species, or giant eel, is cooked with fresh herbs and rice. A simple but profound flavor. Ca Kho To, caramelized fish dish, is one of the most authentic flavors of Vietnamese cuisine and the signature of the Mekong. This dish is prepared by slowly cooking the fish in a sweet caramel sauce and is usually served in clay pots. Tropical orchards and rice fields. The heart of fertility and sacred rituals. The Mekong Delta is not just water, but an agricultural paradise created by water. There are 3 harvest seasons a year. This is possible thanks to the region's unique and fertile climate. Every season, a different product. Either rice, or coconut, or tropical fruit. Especially the leaves of the Phong tree, which are indispensable for wrapping and cooking. Rice fields shine like a mirror in the first light of the morning. Women, with their conical hats, walk in knee-deep water. Every step is taken with patience. Rice here is not just a nutrient, it is the symbol of life. Vietnam's bond with the grain of rice is sacred. In weddings, births, even funerals, a grain of rice is offered as a prayer for blessing. What wheat is to the west, rice is here. When the rice harvest ends, festivals are held in temples to thank the spirits. But the Delta is known not only for rice, but also for mango, jackfruit, papaya, durian, and dragon fruit. Every fruit is sugared under the sun. Children's voices echo in the gardens. Women pick the fruit, men load them onto the boats. This cycle continues with the rhythm of the water. The people of the Mekong see nature not as an enemy, but as a partner. They do not fight when the flood comes. They shape their homes, their boats, their hearts according to this inevitable cycle of life. This philosophy of harmony is inherited from the region's hundreds of years of history. Daily life, a silent philosophy and historical origins. In the Mekong Delta, time does not operate as the Western world is accustomed to. There is no rush here. If something is to be done, it is done according to the rhythm of nature. In the mornings, people get into boats. Some go to the market, some go to school. There are even school boats, hospital boats. Because here the roads are the water itself. Just like buses and taxis in a city, this system is very developed around Ca Kho To, considered the capital of the region. A child's laughter blends with the water, an incense prayer into the wind. And you realize that this people have learned not to fight nature, but to live with it. Tourists find this scenery fascinating, but for the locals, it is just everyday life. Yet, within that everydayness, there is a wisdom. Do not live against the water, live with the water. If you enjoyed the content, please leave a like and subscribe to join me on this journey. Let's enrich the conversation with your comments. Your feedback is truly valuable to me. The ecology of the Mekong. Paradise under threat and global dangers. But every story has a shadow. The Mekong Delta is struggling today with the climate crisis and modern pressures. Rising sea levels are causing saltwater to penetrate inland areas. This threatens the rice fields. Increased salinity makes thousands of hectares of fertile land unusable every year. The United Nations and local scientists warn that if this continues, a significant portion of the low-lying areas of the Mekong Delta could be submerged and lose its fertility entirely by 2100. Furthermore, giant dams built in the upper basins are changing the natural flow of the Mekong. Most importantly, they are preventing the vital sediment that nourishes the delta from arriving. This situation leads to the land gradually slipping into the sea each year. Fish migrations are decreasing, the food chain is disrupted. The waters that were once fertile are now slowly growing tired. Yet, the people of the Mekong are not losing hope. With new irrigation methods, salt-resistant rice varieties, ecotourism initiatives, they are trying to protect these lands. Because they know, if the Mekong dies, not just a river, but an entire culture, a civilization will be lost. The soul of the Mekong. Water's memory and the hope for the future. The Mekong is patient. It flows with 1,000 years of wisdom. Wars, invasions, droughts. It has seen them all, carried them all. During the Vietnam War, not boats, but bombs were floating in this delta. But when the war ended, the river returned to the people. The canals in the river were used as secret routes by Viet Cong guerrillas during that time. Today, children laugh in the same waters. Fishermen cast nets. The Mekong forgives, but it does not forget. This water has a memory. Every laugh, every prayer, every loss, echoes in the depths of the water. The voice of the Mekong is like the human heart. Sometimes calm, sometimes stormy, but always deep. At the end of the day, as the sun slowly sets, the water turns a golden color. Boats return to the harbor. An old woman prays. A child smiles. And that final sound echoing over the river is perhaps the purest sound of humanity. The sound of a life. This is a life only possible with water. This is the Mekong Delta, a world built on water. And that water continues to tell its tale. A story in every ripple, a life hidden in every drop.